Hi guys, and welcome back to OG Cast. In today's video we're going to be servicing our Citroen Saxo VTR because unfortunately there wasn't a lot in the way of paperwork. There was a lot of sort of like original stuff, but not a lot of what's been done in between. So we thought what we'll do is we'll get some fresh 10W40 in there. We've got a male oil filter, so we'll spin one of them on, and we've also got a set of Bosch Spar Plug replacements as well. So let's get to work on the oil change first, and we'll look at the spark plugs after. So we've got the car jacked up and an axle stand under it. You may have seen there was a wheel under it as well, just to help it. And then just got to find the old bonnet release, and wherever the stay has gone, right in front of my eyes somewhere, yes, on the bonnet on this one. There we are. And what I like to do before I drain the oil is I like to just crack off the oil cap and the dipstick, just so it's got a fresh flow of air, just to allow all the oil out quicker. So you don't actually need too much in the way of tools to do this, and luckily everything's quite easy to find. What we've got is a 24mm socket on a large ratchet, which will do our sump plug. We've got the chain style oil filter removal tool. It's right on the front at the bottom, so we can get to that easily. I've got a torch just in case, and obviously we've got the oil and oil filter, which we're going to need after, and we've got a bowl to collect all the waste oil, and I like to keep a rag with me just to sort of wipe off the sump plug, and my gloves as the oil comes out. With the light in place underneath, you can see the 24mm sump plug there, so let's get that undone and get the oil out. So while that's draining out, I've just moved it forward slightly because we're going to get towards the filter. So I've got the chain tool on there, and all you do with this one is you wrap around like so, and then hopefully, I might need to do it a little tighter. There we are, coming undone this time. And then it'll be hand tight. So we'll move this forward a bit more again, just so that it'll be collected when the oil drains out of here as well into our bucket. So with our old one span off and disposed of, we've got a nice new one, which has a little cover, which we remove with one hand, just about. And then just want to get a little bit of oil and wipe the seal, just to help it adhere to the surface. Let's just get a bit more. And then we spin it on, and it's only done hand tight, no need for the chain or anything like that, or going crazy tight. And that'll do us. Obviously we give it all a wipe off down here. We're just going to put the sump plug back in first. So that is the oil filter done, the oil drained, and the sump plug done back up with a new seal and everything wiped off. So what we're going to do now is go back up top, and we can now refill the oil and look at the spark plugs. So here we are. The car is back on all fours. So we're just going to cut open our oil jug here, seal on top, and it takes about 3.5 litres. So this is a 5 litre, so obviously we're still going to have a couple of litres left over. Hopefully I can get it in without getting it absolutely everywhere. And whatever that part of the seal was, decided to come out as well. There we are. Right, let's try that again. 3.5 litres. So the oil is filled up, and I've just put the cap back on and dropped the dipstick back down. As you can see, the seals always fall off on these, which is great. But yes, what we'll do is we'll start the car up and check the oil level later on. But for now, we want to look at the spark plug. So we've got to get this pipe off, which attaches to this, which just has little push clip flings here. We've got a couple of jubilees if you want to remove this as well. Basically, we just need to get this out the way enough so we can get this out. So we've got one connector here, and we've got two 10mm. So we'll undo those and see what we've got. So just removing the wiring as well, just so it's out of the way. This will jump up afterwards, although there's another 10mm which I need to remove because I removed the 10mm from the mount on top, and there's another 10mm underneath the mount which holds on the unit. It's basically one whole unit rather than like with most of the other cars we have, they're all sort of HT leads off of a single coil or twin coils, whereas this sort of like an overhead, which we'll see in a moment. I'm wondering actually if it'll jiggle out without removing this entirely. If we just push this in and remove just that, we might have enough room without removing all of these. But saying that, that's just come out of there, so that means we've only got this bit in the way. So in theory, I see there's a mount this side as well, so there's another 10mm underneath here. So once we've got this 10mm off, then we should be plain sailing to taking off the unit. So the unit will now come up like so. You've got one of these units, which has obviously all of your integrated HT leads into the coil pack, basically. And then if we get you closer in, you'll see where the plugs are. So here we are, we've got the plugs here, here, here and here. So we're just going to grab a spark plug socket and a suitable-ish kind of extension, hopefully, and get those out and get the new ones in. Okay, so I'll just show you the contraption I've created, which is, because it's a little bit tight with some pipes around the back here, obviously I don't want to dismantle the whole car. I've got our 10mm spark plug socket, Alfred's one, with the smaller sized 3/8 extension that comes with the Halford set, and then you just about, it says, if I take that off first, it went straight in when I did this off camera. On camera it's going to be a pain, of course, might be because that's in the way. If we chuck this bit in first, there we are, push it on, and then we've got just enough room, he says, to get this on, and then we can just undo the spark plug. And these spark plug sockets have like a rubber in the bottom of them so that they actually carry the spark plug out when it's done. So let's just get that extension off of there, or a ratchet rather, and see if we can't twist this out now. All right, so there we are. We've got our plug out of there. We do actually have the quadruple tip Super 4s, as they call them, Bosch Super 4s. We're actually putting Bosch R6s back in, so obviously not a Super 4, but still a good spark plug nonetheless. Obviously you can opt for Super 4s again if you wish, but here's what we're going for, the Bosch R6. And what we'll do is we'll just spin this in, tighten it up, and we'll repeat the same for the rest. Unfortunately, due to access issues on cylinder number 2, I've had to resort to getting the 3/8 from downstairs with the small extension and the spark plug socket there. So I'll go and whiz the next few spark plugs in now. So that's all of the plugs back in. So I've just given this a quick check over, and there's no damage to the lead ends, so that's all fine. So what we're going to do is just plug this sensor back in that I unplugged in front of cylinder 2, just to gain a bit of extra access. We'll keep these mounts out of the way, and what we'll do now, just see if we can slide this in roughly where it should be. Make sure all of the holes are lining up. There we are, all lined up and lined up with the studs. So we'll grab our studs, which one is longer than the other, so make sure that you get the correct one, he says. That is the short one on the and a long one. Right, so we've got the studs starting now in here. Just got to do both of those up. We grab, we want a 10mm back, so I've still got a 3/8, so we'll grab that extension and the 10mm. Obviously it's only plastic, but we'll just nip it up slightly. There we are. We want this pipe in here. We want this attached to there. We want our wiring through here. So a couple of clips that it fits into just here. Just got to snake it around those clips there. I'll put those down, I might be able to get to them. That comes through there, round. I probably should have left the breather unplugged just to make this a tad easier. And there we are, that's plugged in there. And these mounts went a little like so. One there and another one just here. Just want to flop those back on the top. And then we've got two 10mm nuts and they just sit on here. We'll do those up and then our spark plug section will be all done. I've just done a general check over now, so we've just checked our coolant level, power steering level, brake fluid level, and I've topped up the washers as well as they were empty. So that is all done and we are all good to go, and see if she'll start. So now that we've started it up and turned it off, we'll just wait a moment before we check the oil. But as you can see here, clutch pedal is a fair bit lower than the brake pedal. And basically what's happened is we've replaced the clutch cable on this car before. And I think it's actually settled in a bit now. So the pedal's gone a little bit lower and it works absolutely fine. But I find that the clutch is quite low. So basically what we're going to do is just lift the pedal up slightly by adjusting it at the gearbox end. So it's fairly difficult to see under the battery carrier here, but you can see with the light on, the 13 and 10mm on the end of the clutch cable. What I've done is I've cracked off the 10mm from the 13, done the 13 up, and I can now do them back up together by holding the 13 and doing up the 10. And by doing that, if we go through to the other side, we'll see that the pedal is now much more in line with the brake pedal and feels much better. So that's another job done. So what I've done now is just check the oil, and it needed a little bit more, so I've just topped it up slightly more from the filler. So that leaves us with a fully serviced car, bar the air filter, because this has an aftermarket air filter and therefore it's lifetime, although this one looks a little bit dirty, so maybe we'll look to replace it or at least clean it out at some point. But for now, that's everything else done and back together. So we're going to close the bonnet, or only two, because what I'm going to do is just charge the battery overnight just for fun. So thanks very much for watching this video, guys. There'll be more on this car and others in the near future, so please stay tuned, like, comment and subscribe, and we shall see you all in the next one.